My name is Talene Shamlian, and this is Julia Webber, and we are ambassadors for the New South Wales Government's Women's Financial Toolkit. It's your future. We firstly want to acknowledge this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and we pay our respect to elders both past, present, and future.
Both Talene and I have a background in finance, and we share a passion to empower women to both understand and manage their financial affairs. I'm dedicated to contributing to the community, starting with the publication of a self-help book for teenage girls at age 14 with a focus on anti-bullying. Whilst at university, I became a financial literacy ambassador and have developed financial literacy content in the hopes of solving the foundational issues that create monetary struggles for all Australians. I have taught financial literacy to young people all over Newcastle, the Hunter and Central Coast regions, as well as online content in collaboration with the Advocate for Children and Young People. My work in the financial literacy space saw me shortlisted as a finalist for the New South Wales Young Woman of the Year Award in 2020, and I continue to advocate for the younger generations to take charge of their financial lives.
And I'm Managing Director at Advisory Street, which is an economics and public policy firm who works closely with boards and CEOs of various corporate and not-for-profit organisations to help them build stronger relationships with government. Prior to this, I worked for a very long time in financial services at the Commonwealth Bank and at Visa, and I've worked with a range of different organisations through the Banking Royal Commission to make sure that their initiatives and programs are there to support the community and customers. And I have a strong passion in making sure that financial security and literacy is at the heart of these measures. Prior to that, I also worked in Canberra in Commonwealth Treasury, and I worked on a range of different tax, superannuation, and budget issues. My personal interest and passion for women's financial literacy really came about from growing up with my two grandmothers, both of whom had faced very hard situations in their life where they lost their husband or their father and have had to make sure that they were financially secure through their lives. And this was something that was a really important lesson for me growing up. But enough about us. Let's chat about the Women's Financial Toolkit, which is a guide to empower women to be confident money managers and to learn more about securing their financial futures. The toolkit was developed through the New South Wales Council for Women's Economic Opportunity, of which I am a member. The Council advises the New South Wales Minister for Women and is made up with a group of experts from all walks of life, whether they're from business or industry or not-for-profits or within the government sector. And the Council really is here to make sure that we can improve women's financial well-being and security and support the diverse and flexible employment opportunities for women and girls. Through the work of the Council, I was able to bring my expertise and develop the resources aimed at supporting women with economic education and opportunities.
Thanks to the work of the Council, we now have an important resource that is free for women to access at any time from any smart device, including a phone, tablet, or PC. The toolkit is designed to be a one-stop shop of trusted and reliable information to assist every woman at every stage of her life. We know that the earlier conversations begin in a woman's life, the more potential there is for developing lifelong skills that contribute to financial well-being. And yet these conversations can be difficult. Some people find it hard to talk about money when they're in a relationship. Others find it hard to think about their financial futures. Or when they're young, they might not understand the value of superannuation, for example, or planning for the future. Some women can also feel embarrassed if they've been taken in by a scam or if they're in debt and not sure where to seek help or advice. These difficulties are all natural and understandable, but they can all be eased with the sharing of information and the building of knowledge.
And meanwhile, for older women, they may not have participated in the workforce because they've been raising children, or they've missed out on putting money towards superannuation, or perhaps they've left the managing of their financial matters to their husbands or partners. So the toolkit really is designed to help empower women of all ages backgrounds, and circumstances, whether you're young or old, whether you live in the city or the regions, whether you speak English as your main language or it's not your first language, whether you're rich or poor. We want to make sure that this toolkit is there to help you by providing you with the resources and information that supports you in your life's journey. The toolkit is accessible for all and includes a free national translating service in over 150 languages. And it's also got a web reader where an automated voice will navigate the toolkit for you. We know that providing women with easy access to free, trusted resources helps build their independence and security. Julia, did you know that Australians lost over $851 million to scams in 2020? That's a record amount because scammers took advantage of the pandemic to con unsuspecting people. And that's why we're here to talk about scams and cybercrime today and how to avoid becoming a victim. Investment scams accounted for the biggest losses, with 328 million, and made up more than a third of total losses. Romance scams were the next biggest category, costing Australians $131 million, and payment redirection scams resulted in $128 million of losses. Meanwhile, health and medical scams increased more than 20-fold compared to 2019, accounting for over $3.9 million in losses. What about phishing activity? Well, they also thrived through the pandemic, and especially through government impersonation scams. There were over 44,000 reports of phishing scams, representing a 75% increase. These are big numbers, Julia.
It really has become such a major issue, Talene, with women and older women often targeted. I work at a financial institution and we've actually seen a really big shift in how customers are being scammed since the start of the pandemic. And I guess most of us have seen a big uptick in the amount of time we're using our devices. So we're actually exposed for more time to more scams than ever. We don't really need to be paranoid about scams, but we do need to be constantly vigilant. And there are three stories which stick out in my mind from the last year or so, which pay service to this concept. The first was a customer who was paying his house deposit, so around $150,000, and the conveyancer had emailed him an invoice with the account details on. But a hacker had actually intercepted the email and changed the bank account details on the invoice, which meant that the customer transferred all $150,000 to a criminal unknowingly. So it just goes to show it's always worth picking up the phone and calling whoever has invoiced you to check that those bank details are correct, no matter the amount. The second story was a customer who had actually fallen in love with someone they met on Reddit, as you mentioned, the prevalence of romance scams. This love interest lived overseas, and after several months of the love affair, the customer decided to help them move to Australia by paying for their airfare and visa expenses. So they transferred over $5,000 to this person's account and never heard from them again. And this example shows just how vigilant we need to be when people ask us to transfer funds to them. We should only ever transfer to close, trusted friends and family. The third and final example, which has really stuck with me, recently a customer who was using a generic password across many different websites, including online banking, had some hackers log into their internet banking because of that generic password. They transferred all of their money out, but not only that, they had access to their address, date of birth, and phone number, so were able to commit identity theft. It is incredibly important that we use complicated passwords for every single website. Have a look at different storage websites you can use, like LastPass, for example, to store all of your complicated passwords, and certainly use two-factor authentication wherever possible. The greatest thing we can learn from all of these stories is that we need to be vigilant at all times. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Wow, Julia, there's some great examples, and I could certainly see myself being caught by one of these sorts of scams. It could hit anyone, which brings us back to the Women's Financial Toolkit and how it can help. The Women's Financial Toolkit links you to trusted places where you can find out more about avoiding scams and cybercrime. The toolkit has been divided into three main categories. The first category is everyday money matters, which has resources for budgeting, getting to work, for example, preparing for an interview or starting a business. The second category is help with unexpected issues, which has resources for disasters or emergencies or money concerns. And the third category is planning for the future, which has resources for different life stages, for example, if you're about to give birth, or investing into your financial future. You'll find this information on scams in the second category, help with unexpected issues section, under money concerns. There's two main resources listed here. The first is a link to the ACCC, or the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, as it's usually known, who provide the little black book of scams, which is a pocket-sized guide so you can spot, avoid, or protect yourself against scams. And the best way to protect yourself is through awareness and education. The little black book of scams is recognised internationally as an important tool for consumers and small businesses to learn about scams. And this could include the most common scams to watch out for, or different ways that scammers can contact you, or the tools that scammers use to trick you, or the warning signs, or how to protect yourself and where to find help. This important resource also comes in 10 community languages, as well as English, and can be downloaded from the ACCC website. The Little Black Book advises us that everyone is vulnerable to scams, so everyone needs information about how to identify and avoid being scammed. Some people think that only the gullible and greedy fall victims to scams, but the truth is scammers are clever, and if you don't know what to look out for, anyone can fall victim to a scam. For example, have you ever received an offer that seems too good to be true? Perhaps a phone call to help fix your computer, or a threat to pay money you don't owe, or an alert from your bank or telco provider about a problem with your account, or even an invitation to befriend or connect online, or maybe even the gym chasing you up for your latest direct debit details. Scammers know how to press your buttons to get what they want.
They really are getting smarter, Talene. It's quite scary. Moving with the times to take advantage of new technology, products, services, major events to create believable stories that will convince you to part with your money or personal details. However, thanks to the tens of thousands of scams reports received every year, the ACCC has prepared a list of common scams to reveal the secrets and tactics that the scammers don't want you to know. Anyone who detects a scam, whether or not they have lost money to it, can report scams and learn how to get help on the ScamWatch website at scamwatch.gov.au. A common form of scams that can impact women is dating and romance scams, as we've mentioned, which costs Australian millions every year and can ruin individuals' and families' lives. So how does it work? Scammers can create fake profiles on legitimate dating websites, mobile apps, or social media platforms like Facebook using photos and identities often stolen from real people. They use these profiles to try and enter into a relationship with you that can run for months or even years. Some of these scammers are really playing a long game, and they will ask you for money to help with illness, injury, travel costs, or a family crisis. They are heartless and they will lie to you to take advantage of your better nature. Scammers will usually be overseas and have an excuse for why they are there, such as being on military service, working as an engineer, caring for a friend or relative, but they are never who they say they are. And some cunning scammers may even send you small gifts. This is only part of their grand plan to get even more money out of you later. The Little Black Book of Scams includes ways to protect yourself as well, such as never send money or give your personal details to someone you have only met online. Watch out if an online admirer asks to communicate outside the dating website or social media platform after only a few contacts or conversations. It could be a scammer. Do an image search of your admirer to determine if they really are who they say they are. You can use image search services such as Google or TinEye. Be cautious when sharing intimate pictures or videos online. Scammers are known to blackmail their targets using pictures or video of you that you don't want anyone else to see.
You can also find information from Fair Trading New South Wales about how to protect yourself from scams and cybercrime. So what is cybercrime? Well, cybercrime and scams often overlap, but cybercrime does not always involve a scam. Cybercrime is illegal activity directed at computers, mobile phones, or other online devices, and can include identity theft, email spam and phishing, attacks on computer systems, distribution and possession of offensive and illegal content, cyberbullying, or maybe even online trading issues. Unfortunately, if you've lost money to a scam or cybercrime, it's unlikely you will get your money back. However, there are some steps that you can take to protect yourself from further harm. And here's some tips and advice about how to get yourself back on your feet after falling victim to a scam or cybercrime. The first tip is to contact your financial institution. If you've sent money or shared your banking details with a scammer, contact your financial institution immediately. They may be able to stop a transaction or close your account to protect you from further loss. Your credit card provider may be able to charge back any fraudulent transactions. The second tip is to change your online passwords. If you think your computer or device has been hacked or infected with malware, you should change your passwords for all your online accounts. Never use one password for all of your accounts, so that if someone uncovers it, they unlock all of your information. The third tip is to recover your stolen identity. If you are a victim of identity theft, it's really important that you act quickly to minimize your losses. You can contact ID Care. ID Care is a free government-funded service that can work with you to help develop a specific response plan to your situation and support you through the process. The fourth tip is that you could also apply for a Commonwealth Victims Certificate. This helps you support your claim that you've been the victim of identity crime and can be used to help re-establish your credentials with government or financial institutions. In short, prevention is best to avoid costly mistakes that can hurt you financially and emotionally. And we recommend you download the Little Black Book of Scams and learn all about the methods they use so you can avoid being scammed and falling victim. Thank you for joining Julie and I today to discuss how you can protect yourself from scams and cybercrime through education and awareness. Remember, you can visit the Women's Financial Toolkit at any time that suits you, and you'll find that on the Women's New South Wales website.